What is happening, everybody? This is Dave Croft, and welcome back to another episode of the 52 Qs podcast, your weekly insight into all things production and library music. Whether you are brand new, baby Bambi legs to the industry, or maybe you are a production music veteran, I promise you are in the right place. My name is Dave Croft, and it is so good to be with you today. And if you find this video helpful, and if you like this podcast, then why don't you give it a 5-star review in your podcast app or a thumbs up here on YouTube? And why don't you subscribe? I talk about production and library music every single week, and we would love to have you. Of course, this entire channel and community would not be possible without the amazing support of our family, friends, and neighbor member subscribers of 52 Qs, who, in addition to being amazing members of the community, they also receive extra perks and bonuses like live streams, workshops, Zoom feedback sessions, Q breakdowns, hundreds of hours of archives, and the opportunity to submit to real music library. So maybe you're feeling stuck on your own production music journey, or maybe you just want to find that next level. Then why don't you head over to 52qs.com and join us? It's free to join, and memberships start at around $4 a month. And it is a very special live episode of the 52 Qs podcast. We are coming to you live from Cymbal Slice 2024, which is our latest composer quest, and we've got so many amazing cues to go over today, and we put composer quests together once a quarter, so once every 3 months, and today we've got tons of folks hanging out with us in the chat room, and you get to vote on the winners. Let's see, who do we have in the chat? What is happening? Dex, Nathan, Reed, Manuel, Jeff, we've got Yuka, we've got Dell hanging out, we've got Mad About Nothing, we've got Rolf, we've got Creative Tools. It is so good to be with all of you today. We're going to go for about an hour. Hold your V. What is happening is really good to see you. And so this is the live voting for our composer quest. And the composer quest was to write a cue using some cymbal samples that I recorded and put together. And I'm pulling up the brief now. And so they were to use cymbal samples that I presented, and they're going to be evaluated on 3 different criteria: creativity, searching for submissions that demonstrate unique and inventive uses of the cymbal sample. How effectively can you transform the provided material into something unexpected? So the creativity aspect. Next, the sound design aspect, the technical skill and artistry in how you manipulate the sample. And then finally, presentation. The final presentation of your composition, how well the manipulated samples are integrated into your piece. That is also going to be considered. So the sample itself, I'm going to play it for you so that you can hear it and you can hear the samples. There were a total of 5, and they were all put together in one fell swoop here, and they sound like this. And those were the samples that everybody was given. And the winner of the voting today, actually, well, everybody that participated got access to those samples. So they're yours. Enjoy. But the winner gets the Cymbal sample library, and I am so excited to announce, big drum roll, that we have partnered with the amazing and incomparable Stevie B, Stephen Bedall, over at the Production Music Academy and Production Music Tools. And there is a brand new Cymbal SFX library, bowed cymbals. It's available for $19, but if you wait until the end of today's session, I'm going to give you a little discount code. But you can head over to productionmusictools.com and you can download 68 cymbal samples. And the winner of today gets that cymbal sample library for free. That is what they win. And we also, Shannon, I think, has some giveaway codes, right? And so we're going to give one away to folks who are hanging out in the chat a little bit later today during the live stream. And we are going to also do a giveaway over on the Insta. So if you haven't followed us on Instagram at 52Qs, but and I think, did I see Stevie B? I think Stevie B's hanging out with us today. Man, Steve is awesome. One of my favorite people, one of the nicest people I've ever met. Keeping up. The Canadians are nice. You are keeping that going, but you can head over to Production Music Tools right now and download Cymbal SFX bowed, and we have more. We have more planned, including friction cymbal effects. We have scrapes, including metal scrapes, plastic scrapes, fiberglass scrapes. So lots more planned, and I could not be happier to be partnering with Production Music Tools. Like I said, you can head over to productionmusictools.com, and I'm going to actually pull up the window here so you can see it. Production Music Tools, and there we are. There we are. And Stephen Bedall did an amazing job shooting a trailer for us, and you can check that out. But yeah, Stevie B, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, Van Kraken says, say special cymbal sample selection 5 times fast. Right on. So the cymbal pack is finally here for all of you long-time 52Qs folks. You didn't think it would ever come. You didn't ever think it would get here, and yet here it is. All right. So with all that out of the way, and again, hang on to the end of the live stream, because I'm going to give you a code that you can get 15% off. 15% off this already cheap. It's $19, right? It's $19. And so you can check that out. All right. So let's get to some listening. But first, if you want to vote, and I would love to have you vote, then why don't you head over to 52qs.com/vote. You can also scan this QR code. Would love to have you join us over there. And the voting at 52qs.com/vote, just click here to vote, and that takes you up to a voting page. Now, the way that we do it, this isn't like, this was my favorite. That's not what we're doing here. That's not how the voting works. How the voting works is, what do you think about this? Would you rate this one a 1 star for not my favorite, to 5 star with that was amazing? We're not here to tell you what the metrics are. We're just here to give you some stars and punch them in. And the winner is the person who gets the most highest number of stars. That's how that is. And by the way, that discount code is 15%. Did I say 50? I didn't mean to say that. Shannon, when is voting going to be announced? Are we able to announce this live, or are we going to announce it on the community a little bit later? Well, we're not going to do it live, I don't think, because we're going to give folks time to vote. Probably over the weekend. Shannon is the boss of all this stuff, so. All these pictures, this is all Shannon. This is all Shannon. Amazing graphic and everything. All right, so head over to 52qs.com/vote. Click here to vote, to cast your votes. But in the meantime, let's get to listening. And I've got a Logic session pulled up. And so we're going to, first of all, I've really enjoyed all the symbol puns. Okay, so Shannon says we are going to announce on the community on Monday. So you have all weekend to vote, and this is going to be going out into the podcast feed starting tomorrow morning. All right, so first, Rolf, symbolic symbolism. Rolf Shield, his description says, every sound has been made using the cymbal sample only, even the drum kit and the bass. I used SPL Transient Designer heavily and resampled everything in some stages. Then I loaded the drum sounds into Groove Agent 5. Bass was made with Serum using a sample as a wavetable. I used some instances of Pigments 5, Halion 7, Cubase sample track, and Isotope Iris 2, which Iris is really good. I wish Isotope would support that more. All right, so here is Symbolic Symbolism from Rolf Shield. Right, that was Symbolic Symbolism from Mr. Rolf Shield. Rolf, thank you so much for sending that along. I'm going to tweak my my things here just so I can have the live stream there. Give me 1 second, everybody. Yep, that'll work. All right, just so we can have the chat on screen at the same time. This is good TV right here. It's good TV. This is good podcasting. Don't need that. There we go. All right, there we go. Now everybody can see the chat. All right, next up we have Trace Callahan. Trace says, after listening to the samples, I decided to have a little sound design fun. I took one of the shorter samples, pitch shifted it a lot, chopped it into a stutter, then took those pieces to make a bass pulse, another even lower pulse, and a reverse pulse. The original sample was a B, so I centered the cue around B. The same sample with different creative mangling became a low moan. I felt like the pulse plus the unusual cymbal sounds lent themselves towards mystery, and with a brief melody, some basic synths, and a bit of flute decoration, I wound up with a sense in Symbolism, a mysterious tension cue. So this is Trace Callahan with Sense in Symbolism. That was Sense in Symbolism. I got to tell you, I'm enjoying two things. First of all, the great title puns, but just how different folks approach these things. You know, as somebody who has recorded all of these, to hear somebody take them and turn them into something completely new, just really, really impresses me and makes me happy. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that, Trace. As a reminder, head over to 52cues.com/vote, click on the click here to vote. And remember, you're not voting on who wins. You're just voting on what you think about that cue. 5 stars being, yep, loved it. 1 star being, maybe not my favorite. 52cues.com/vote and click on click here to vote. Next up, we have Dell. What is happening, Dell? I know Dell is hanging out with us. This is Brink of Battle, hybrid heroic symbolism. This is my first crack at attempting the kind of bigger epic cue that I love in the many soundtracks that I listen to on a nearly daily basis. It aims to capture the energy of 2 powerful opposing forces facing off across the field in the final moments before conflict. As once said by the legendary military strategist Sun Tzu, when standing on the precipice of battle, the true warrior must prepare to slice their foes to capture victory. So in this vein, the cymbal samples provided enhance the mood of this cue perfectly as key transitions that help build energy and connect thematic elements. They would have been sliced up, played both forward and in reverse. Sliced up, played both forward and in reverse, and transformed by melding them with the complementary waveforms from one of my favorite free virtual instruments, the Saw by Sonoscore. All right, so let's head over. Let's make sure that everything is muted appropriately, and we're going to take a listen to. Tell you what, I'm gonna do this. I think this will help. That way, I'm not accidentally playing things. All right, so this is Brink of Battle by Dell Peterson. All right, that was Brink of Battle from Dell. Dell, thank you so much for sending this along. Man, it reminds me of the Fright Night where I don't know how you're going to make a choice, which is why I'm so glad that we have the voting system that we have set up. And that was Shannon, a fantastic idea. You know, you're not voting who wins, you're voting what you think of each cue. So thank you, Dell. Really appreciate you sending that along. Next up, Ralph Aleski sent along The Abyss. And Ralph says, in an abyss, you don't really know where you are, like this cue. A touch of uncertainty along with a solid rhythmic pattern. Cymbal slices make up the constant pulse throughout, as well as a few luscious scrapes thrown in. So here is Ralph Aleski with The Abyss. That was The Abyss from Ralph. Ralph, thank you so much for sending that along. I was like, okay, Ralph's going to do some tension. No, Ralph's going to be Ralph. Ralph is a really good guitarist in the community. But yeah, Manuel says it gave him a Soundgarden vibes, and Ralph going rogue. Appreciate that, Ralph. Thank you so much for sending that along. Next up, we have Signs and Symbols from Leslie Richart. Or Richart, if I'm mispronouncing that, my apologies. Leslie says, I started by putting each sample on a separate track, then duplicating and reversing each sample. Each sample I used is modified in some way, and I used all 5 samples somewhere in my project. Modifications include variations of the following: chop, paste, different samples together, reverse, transpose, pitch shift automation, chop and loop, put them in a vocal, guitar, and amp tracks to experiment with those presets. I started with the samples to get the vibe I wanted, then added drums and percussion, then synths. That's the opposite of what I usually do, so this was super fun. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to mess about with your cymbal sounds and for setting up the quest. I love quests. Well, I'm so glad, Leslie. Thank you so much, because more quests are coming in. So let's, as a reminder, head over to 52cues.com/vote. And we are at Signs and Symbols, right? S-I-N-E, it's a pun for you audio folks. It's a good pun. That was Signs and Symbols from Leslie. Leslie, thank you so much for sending this along. Yeah, folks in the chat are like, you are so creative. I love all these different genres. Yeah, we just do a rock cue, and this was so creative. Really, really, Leslie, thank you so much for sending that along. As a reminder, head over to 52cues.com/vote. And if you're listening to this in the podcast over the weekend, it's not too late. Voting does close Sunday. I'm assuming, Mrs. 52Qs, Sunday at 11:59 Eastern. Although, yes, we'll say midnight Eastern. All right, next up we have Jean-Luc Beruchot with Hacker's Heart Attack. And Jean-Luc says this cue has kind of a cybercrime tension feel to it, except the arpeggiated bass, which is finally quite dry. Everything in this cue was made from the cymbal samples. You can hear the sample on itself throughout the cue, but the kick, snare, filtered noise following the kick and bass, and all the textures were made from the cymbal samples. To do that, the process was both outside and inside the box. Outside the box, I've used my Electron Octatrack to quickly and easily play with the sample and get new interesting texture. Change the rate, change the pitch, attack, decay, release, add some LFOs, and chop the sample. Inside the box, I've used the Ableton stock sampler, then again, some tweaks on pitch, filter, etc., and then resample this often multiple times using some plugins like Portal, Thermal, and Fragments. For the kick, I've also used the BX Subsynth plugin to add some low subs. So we're going to take a listen to Hacker's Heart Attack. That was Hacker's Heart Attack from Jean-Luc Beruchot. Thank you so much for sending this along. I'm not voting. Mrs. 52Qs, we're not voting, and I'm kind of glad I don't have to, because I'm not sure I could. I'm not sure I could pick all of these out. But thank you so much, Jean-Luc, for sending that along. Oh, and it should go without saying, I imagine many of these cues are unsigned, I'll say. So if you're watching this and you're a publisher or a library and some of these cues are interesting to you and maybe you'd want them in your catalogs, then you could reach out to us over at 52Qs. You can either do contact@52qs.com, or if you want to join over in the network, we'd love to have you. But I am sure somebody would love to have these get signed. So please, by all means, feel free to reach out. And I don't have any skin in this game, right? I'm not getting any writer share for any of these cues or whatever. So So please, we'd love to connect our members with libraries for sure. Next up, we have Enrico. Enrico, man, I hope that you are sleeping well. I know he's over in Italy and turned me on to Lavazza Coffee. He is a frequent visitor over in the morning live stream, which is tomorrow morning for the family, friends, and neighbor subscribers. We're going to be doing a live stream, but I'm sure he is asleep right now. This is called Morph Symbolism, and Enrico says, writing this has given me a great reason to delve deeper into the features of some of my synths and samplers that I hadn't fully explored before. Everything except the kick drum and the bass comes from the cymbal samples. Mimic slice sampler and granular stretching for the scratching, scenic granular sampling for the keys, grain spectral formant sampling for some of the percussion, plus general time stretching, pitch bending, and further audio abuse for the other elements. And as a reminder, head over to 52cues.com/vote. We would love to have you vote over there. But let's take a listen to Morphed Symbolism from Enrico Karali. That was Morphed Symbolism. I almost jumped in, but I saw that there was a little button there. Enrico, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending that along. Man, that was some funky bass, man. And I got to know, I'm assuming you played that bass. If you didn't play that bass, I need to know what plugin that was. I need to know what plugin that was. Next up, Nathan Toft with tachycardic vibrations. I had to practice that one. Tachycardia is an increased heart rate for any reason. He goes on to say, I originally posted this for week 8 of Expedition 52, which Expedition 52 is our year-long composer quest happening right now over at 52 Cues. It's too late to join. We closed down membership for that in January, but we might be talked into a mid-year expedition going up. But anyway, I digress. I originally posted this for the week 8 of Expedition 52 and made several changes thanks to suggestions from my fellow climbers. My library has a call for pulsating tension cues. They're looking for multiple stops, risers, ticks, clicks, pings, Brahms with a pulsing heartbeat bass. They also want 3 main acts, soft, medium, and hard, each being able to stand on their own. My cue has 4 acts, more value for their money, right? I used Pigment's 5 and effects I've collected over the years. Dave's cymbals are used to mark the transitions between acts. That wailing siren noise you hear is me on trombone, processed with far too many guitar plugins. Good fun. I was hoping your trombone chops would make an appearance. The title comes from a word I learned from watching too many medical dramas. So here is tachycardic vibrations from Nathan Toft. That was Nathan Toft with Tachycardic Vibrations. Nathan, thank you so much for sending that along. That was intense, my man. That was intense. And that the trombone sirens, chef's kiss. Really, really, really nice work. Next up, we have Dex. Dex, I know Dex is hanging out. What is happening? Dex says, I can feel it coming. I had no idea what this was going to be. I started by taking the 5 samples and putting them into the Logic sampler. I messed around with different effects and reverses and looping you can do in there, and tuning, and then added audio effects like distortion, phasing, and EQ. My aim was to get some individual instruments like bass, synth, kick, and hi-hat, which I could make a track from. Just as I was halfway through structuring things, I came up with the airy synth sound, and this song just popped into my head as I was using similar chords already. Everything you hear on the track came from those 5 samples. So here is I Can Feel It Coming from Dex Williams. That was Dex Williams with I Can Feel It Coming. I was like, this sounds just like Phil Collins. Yeah, because it's a cover. Now, Dex, if you make this video get demonetized, it's inconsequential. I'm totally okay with that. Thank you so much, Dex. That was stellar. It's like almost had like a Casio keyboard vibe, that lo-fi. Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for sending that along. As a reminder, everybody, you can vote. Head over to 52cues.com/vote, and voting is going to be open all weekend. And for anybody that's joining this a little bit late, or maybe you haven't looked at it yet, this isn't a vote for your favorite. It's a vote from 1 star to 5 stars. Each at a time, and then the winner is going to be announced on Monday. Also, be sure to stick around, because not only are we giving away a free code to the brand new Cymbal SFX library from Production Music Tools, but we're also going to be giving away a 15% discount code for everybody. So yeah, that's 16 cents, right? I think I make about maybe $30 a month with YouTube. That's fine. It covers. I'm ashamed to admit how much money we spent at Taco Bell last night. So I'm just going to take a sip of coffee. Let's just say we cracked $30 at Taco Bell. Oh, that's all right. Daddy needed his nachos and cheese. Next up, we have Holger V with Symphobia. I love this name because I'm a big fan of Project Sam and Symphobia. Holger says, this is my first cue that I've ever submitted in this community. I'm at the very beginning of a production music composer's journey, having found out about production music through the 52 Cues podcast somewhere in January of this year. I'm still catching up on all the podcast episodes. Currently, I'm in February of 2023. Oh, excellent. If you've been watching it, You can watch my beard grow if you do it really and fast forward it. It's crazy. And I've started to read the recommended books. There's so much to learn. Nevertheless, I started off with the idea of creating a cue just using the 5 provided WAV files, which in retrospect might have been a little overambitious. At times, I felt like I was taking part in Dave's buzzword bingo, crossing off the buzzwords in my mind. Resistance? Check. Imposter syndrome? Check. Messing with the time signature? Check. My first sketch was in 15.8. And the absolute classic, read the bleepin' brief. Check. Oh, there was a time limit? Right. Since I made it my mission to use exclusively the 5 cymbal scrapes as a sound source, I spent a lot of time throwing these samples on tools like iZotope's Iris 2 and UVI's Falcon, running the results through filters, reverbs, delays, and other effects. Finally, I did manage to assemble something like a tension cue, I guess? I'm still struggling with genres and moods. It starts and ends in the key of A minor, thou shalt have no other key signature but one, and has an ABA structure. I tried to set proper edit points into and out of the B section. Thank you for putting up this composer quest. Just finishing this single cue was a heck of a learning experience for me. Also, thank you so much for hosting this community and all the effort and love that you put into it. Well, just know that it is my absolute pleasure. It's both Shannon and my absolute pleasure to be on this journey with you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so happy to have you. And I'm so glad you found us, however you found us. And I'm so glad you've been enjoying the podcast. So let's take a listen to Symphobia from Holger Vossen. I gotta tell you, man, to be like a first attempt, freaking bravo, my man. Really, really well done. Thank you so much for sending that along. And if that's any indication, man, I think you're gonna fit in perfectly here at 52 Qs. Thank you so much for sending that along, and just the chat and the love, effusive chat. And that was a good write-up. Thank you so much. So happy that you are with us. Next up, John DuPont. What is happening, John? I know John is hanging out in the chat. John with Red Alert says this piece ended up as a retro Peter Gunn meets Bernard Herrmann cue. I used most of the 5 cymbal slices Dave sent, some forward, some reversed. Only 2 outside tracks used, low strings and a kick sample. All of the drum elements and effects were cymbal based and lots of pitch bending. So we're going to take a listen to Red Alert from John DuPont. That was Red Alert from John DuPont. I got to tell you, I like the sirens, and there sounded like some like vocal screaming or something. And if that is part of the symbol library, congratulations! I'm now sufficiently creeped out like I was during Fright Night. Thank you so much, John, for sending that along. Next up, Reed Gesteland with Echoing Caverns. Reed says, I took the cymbal slices and started to change the pitch using flex mode in Logic. I then stretched a few of them out and pulled them into Loop Cloud, forcing them to be set to 100 BPM in F minor. During the actual composition process, I used a plugin named Dawsome Love to modify the resulting sounds to make them sound more ethereal or to provide them with more bass. Finally, the 808 bassline sound came from Sublab XL, where I dragged one of the cymbal slices into it as the bass sound. I then chose a sustain preset from Sublab XL to give me the sound that is used in the composition. The other two sounds that aren't based on the cymbal slices are the creepy piano morphed piano melody and the Darksichord, which was also modified by Dawsome Love to provide the underlying ethereal pads. All right, so here is Echoing Caverns by Reed Gesteland. That was Echoing Caverns from Reed Gesteland. Reed, thank you so much for sending that along. I tell you what, guys, these are really good. And you notice that they're not all tension cues, and we've got some ambient stuff, we've got some kind of horror stuff, we've got some rock stuff. This is really good. I am astounded at the creativity in this community. I am really, really impressed by how you guys have taken these samples. As a reminder, you can head over to 52cues.com/vote, click on vote, click here to vote, and then give each one of these 1 to 5 stars. Reminder that voting ends on Monday. Next up, we have Michael and Yuka Reschke. Oh, the Reschkes. I hope you are all doing well. This is To Beat or Not To Beat. Recipe, : This is an epic percussion cue using some of Dave's seasoned sample slices. We used slices like risers, drones, and created a cool alarm effect to taste. Chef Reschke's proudly prepared this dish for all of you to enjoy. Yep, well, with Shannon's sushi simple sample sushi guy. Say that 5 times real fast. Next up, we have To Beat or Not To Beat. That was To Beat or Not to Beat from Michael and Yuka Reschke, a great songwriting couple up in Florida. Hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for sending that along. Next up, we're going to round out the afternoon by having the dueling Manuels, who I think are like in totally different countries. This is Manuel Hosfeld. This is Just Scraping By. More great cymbal puns. I tried to use the bowed cymbal samples in both obvious, i.e. traditional, and not so obvious ways. For the latter, I used Life by Excellent Audio to generate the ticking percussion-y thing that starts the cue from a part of the cymbal samples, as well as Other Desert Cities, a very creative delay / multi-effect plugin at 100% wet. Stylistically, it's probably a mixture between a tension cue and a trailer cue. I hope it's not too experimental, so we're going to take a listen to Just Scraping By. That was Just Scraping By from Manuel Hosfeld. Somebody said in the chat, Manu. Thank you so much for sending that along. I thought that was really well done. Thank you. Thank you so much. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Manuel Pereira. This track was created, and this is Symbiosis, Chef's Kiss. These puns make my heart happy. The track was created exclusively using the provided samples. I primarily used the Logic Q sampler to manipulate the sounds and try to create an harmonious symbiosis with them. Additionally, I ventured into a 3/4 time signature. So here is Symbiosis from Manuel Pereira. That was Symbiosis from Manuel Pereira. Manuel, thank you so much for sending this along. That ring out. Thank you so much for sending this along. Really, really do appreciate it. As a reminder, head over to 52cues.com/vote. Click here to vote. Now, if you are watching this in the future, it's not up there yet because we didn't want to post the sound files. If you go to 52cues.com/vote, you can see a playlist there. It's going to be embedded right there, and you can vote. And you can hear all of these again, but just to put these back into your ears, we're gonna pop in and just briefly touch on each of these, starting first with Rolf with Symbolism, Trace with Sense and Symbolism, Dell with Hybrid Heroic Symbolism, Ralph, The Abyss, we have Signs and Symbolism from Leslie, Hacker's Heart Attack from Jean-Luc, Enrico with Morphed Symbolism, Nathan with Tachycardic Vibrations, Dex with I Can Feel It Coming, Holger with Symphobia, we have Jean-Luc with Red Alert, we have Reed with Echoing Caverns, Michael and Yukareshki with To Beat or Not to Beat, Manuel Hosfeld with Just Scraping By, finally, Manuel Pereira with Symbiosis. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So head over to 52cues.com and get to voting. Remember, you're not voting for who you think wins. You're going to go one by one and rate each one from 1 to 5 stars. The winner will be announced on Monday. And now what I would love to do for anybody who is attending live, I want to give you something. Partnering up with our good friend, Stevie B, Stephen Bedall, we want to give you 15% off and until March 11th. If you use the code 52Qs, that's 52 capital C and then UES at checkout, you can get 15% off and already pretty darn inexpensive. It's like $19. Right? So if you want 15%, that code expires on March 11th. Get your hands on cymbal samples that I recorded myself right here using a vintage pair of Neumann KM184s. These were $10,000 microphones that a German friend of mine let me borrow, and really enjoyed recording those. And we recorded also, in addition to bowed textures, coming up a little bit later, we're going to release friction mallet textures and scrapes texture. So lots more coming, but we wanted to get started with Cymbal SFX bowed. Head over to productionmusictools.com, enter the code 52Qs at checkout. Now, I want to give away some of this for free. I want to give somebody I want to give it right now. And so I'm not looking at the screen, because here's how I want to do it. It's kind of like how Taxi does it, right? Taxi will say, enter a number into the chat. And so the number I want you to enter into the chat is enter the number 52 into the chat, and I'm going to randomly look up, and the first name that I see, they're going to win this symbol pack. I'm not looking, so you're going to enter the number 52 in the chat right now. I'm not looking. Actually, yeah, I'm not looking. I'm waiting for 52 to show up in the chat. They do this at Taxi TV all the time. Of course, I hope we have folks. All right, if you want the Cymbal Slice, the Cymbal Pack, Cymbal SFX live. All right, I'm not looking. I'm just going to randomly in 3, 2, 1. Rolf is gonna win that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Rolf. Really appreciate you. That was literally the first number I saw there, and so appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. But that is going to do it for us today. Really, thanks for joining us for this very special live episode of the 52 Qs podcast. Remember, none of this would be possible without the support of our family, friends, and neighbor subscribers of 52 Qs. I mean, they pay their actual real life money to keep all of this going. This would not be possible without you. Yes, we plugged the heck out of the Cymbal library, but that's not, nobody came and said sponsor the show. Nope. We are able to do this because of listeners and viewers and community members just like you. So thank you so much. But you do want to tune in next week, where we are going to be talking here on the podcast about your production music bottlenecks. Where are you getting stuck? What are the things that are keeping you? What are the things that are slowing you down? Or are you not able to push through? Is it procrastination? Is it resistance? We're going to be talking about that next week on the podcast. It's going to be coming out on Thursday. Once again, a huge word of thanks to Stevie B at Production Music Tools and the Production Music Academy. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be partnering with Production Music Tools. We got so many things planned, and thank you, Steve, for helping us out. And a huge shout out to Mrs. 52 Qs, who made all of this possible. But that is going to do it for me today. I hope you have an amazing week, and remember that the universe has amazing plans just for you. Until next time, peace. The 52 Qs podcast is copyright 2024 818 Studios, all rights reserved. The music played on the podcast is copyright of their respective owners and is used with permission and for educational purposes only. For more information, including joining the community or becoming a member subscriber of 52 Qs, head over to 52qs.com.